What's good, man? It's Misery Mayfield, man. You check me out live. Say it again, live on the Green Scene, TV.com. Holla.
Hi, I'm Brent Green, and welcome to another great episode of The Green Scene. We're on location here at our new home, Chopsticks Urban Art Space, and today's guests are James Clark, our resident legal cannabis expert, along with Silverback.
GreenCTV.com.
We're here with James Clark, our resident cannabis lawyer on the scene, and he's here to get us up to speed on what's going on out there. James, it's been a while since we've seen you, so how's it been?
Been good. It's great to be here at Chopsticks Urban Art Space, and it's a big step up from doing our man on the streets interviews that you may see on the Green Scene in the past, but it looks great here, and it's great to be in Oakland.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. It actually brings me to a point I wanted to bring up right off the bat is if you send us your slaps, we'll put them on. The bigger, the brighter, the better. If you send us your T-shirts, we'll wear it on the air. I wear a double XL, and we, as you know, we really like green. What is the newest legal, challenge or decision regarding cannabis currently?
Well, here in California, the latest issue is the California Supreme Court's recent decision deciding that the county of Riverside is able to actually ban dispensaries that were operating legally under state law within their jurisdiction under their land use powers. And this is entirely new. It has been something that many cities and counties have argued previously, but medical cannabis activists and patients have always argued that no, the Compassionate Use Act and Prop 215 were rules that could not be simply overridden by a city or county's land use laws to completely prevent safe access dispensaries in an area. So, a dispensary otherwise operating legally in your neighborhood could be shut down if the local authorities decide that they want to have prohibition on that kind of cannabis vending for patients.
So let's dive right in. The hottest topic for me anyways, since I've been in Oakland, is Measure Z. Let us know.
Well, let me throw you a curveball real fast. Have you ever been to any Measure Z clubs?
I haven't, but I've heard lots about them.
Well, me too. I've never been to one either, but I always have heard about them. Measure Z was passed quite some time ago in Oakland. It's an Oakland-specific ordinance passed by the voters here in Oakland, which essentially says in a nutshell that private adult cannabis use should be the lowest police priority here. And what does that mean? It basically means that the people of Oakland are saying, please, law enforcement, do not waste our money, our taxpayer resources going after private adult cannabis use. And so there have been some clubs that have opened in response to try to take advantage of that and provide a place for people to consume and transact in cannabis off the street, completely private, and hopefully the police would leave that alone.
So, James, as you know, as we all know, there's 2 legal cannabis states now. And the burning question is it a free-for-all just because it's recreational?
Well, the short answer is no. First of all, big ups to Colorado and little ups to Washington for making some progress here towards legalization in the nation. But these are really small steps, folks. The war is by no means over. There's 2 sides to every coin. These historic laws were passed, but there's a lot of limitations there. Colorado's the most expansive of the laws. They'll allow an adult there to possess up to an ounce and even grow 6 mature plants. So that's pretty good. Washington will allow you to possess an ounce, but you're not allowed to cultivate there. And then the flip side to the coin is the giveaway to law enforcement. They both passed laws making it much easier to prosecute people who are driving with any cannabinoids in their system. And that means people who have used cannabis recently, not just simply the metabolites that exist in your system.
So speaking of two sides to every coin, how is the cannabis scene here in California for us patients?
Well, as we know, like you said, there's two sides to every coin, and regular viewers of the green scene are going to know that, as I've talked before, that federal law still completely prohibits all medical cannabis or even the recreational cannabis activities like in Washington and Oregon. And it really remains to be seen what the federal Justice Department is going to do, what their new policy is going to be. They haven't adopted one yet. They keep promising they'll say it, but they haven't.
Protect your neck, folks. Let's talk dabs.
Well, vaporizing might be a more appropriate term on that, but goo, dabs, butane extraction, CO2 extraction, these all seem to be pretty hot with a lot of people in the scene. And there's a flip side to that as well, upside downside. The positive is everybody's into it and likes it. The downside is manufacture of these kinds of products is highly illegal, and people can be prosecuted under the exact same statutes as having a meth lab. So production of goo or any kind of butane, CO2, or other extraction methods could be really, really dangerous and potentially a criminal conviction without protection under the medical cannabis law.
Since I've moved to Oakland and the Bay Area, I see people smoking everywhere in public. So let's talk the legalities of where one should and shouldn't smoke.
I'm glad you brought this up. Well, let's start with medical patients. Under the medical laws, medical patients can smoke their medical cannabis, obviously in the privacy of their own home, but anywhere else that smoking a cigarette would be legal. But you absolutely cannot smoke it in a moving car, a school bus, airplane, places like that. But that's what the law says. Let's talk about what's a good idea, because I see people smoking everywhere too, especially with the popularity of these goo pens, trippy sticks, whatever you want to call them. The rise of that popularity, I see it all over the place. But also people just burning bowls and joints at the ball game or in public. And it's just a bad idea, folks.
So in closing, let's talk plant count numbers.
All right, well, for the green scene audience, let's get local and focus on Alameda County for a second. Alameda County is pretty big, as we've said, but it doesn't actually have any overarching rules that set out numbers. And in Berkeley, you can cultivate 10 plants outdoors. It's not entirely clear how many indoors. Oakland will allow 72 indoor plants within a 32 square foot area, but those numbers are different if people are cultivating on behalf of other people in a dispensary setting. And then keep in mind that patients who have needs that go beyond that, they can always cultivate whatever their personal amounts that they require are.
Oh, the cultivator. We love the cultivator here. We'd like to thank you for your time today, because I know you're really, really busy out there defending those supposed cannabis criminals. Don't be a stranger. We'd like to have you back really, really soon. If you have any cannabis questions out there, send them to James Clark. Let us know where we can find you.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I like chopping it up at Chopsticks. You can find me at my office, which is in Sebastopol, or my other office in Oakland. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can call me at
Those on them old school D's said I wouldn't be shit, said I wouldn't do shit. My name got levy, now they all on my pool sticks. Lucky I'm a straight nigga, I don't fuck with dudes. And I don't dick ride niggas and think it's cool shit. I would do the full Mac 9 shit. I came from the buildings, that's why I design shit. Always on my high shit, niggas is the flyers. Raw for this gang nigga, we excite the riot. Nigga, I'm invincible.
As many of our old school viewers know, at one time we were guided through the cannabis scene by a guide. Somehow we lost touch with him. Well, the other day, while wandering about the town, I ran into the mystic yet elusive Silverback. Today he's going to join us and let us know where he's been, as well as tell his story, which is wildly resonating and memorable. Thanks for joining us, Silverback. Let's get right into the big question of the day. Where in God's name have you been?
Well, you know, I was in beast mode. I got caught up at the wrong time, in the wrong place with the wrong people, and ended up in the zoo for a little while. But that's okay. Silverback is black. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be in your new studio, the Chopsticks Urban Art Space here in the Oaktown, home of Slap Apocalypse, Slap City.
So define beast mode and elaborate for us on where you've been, because, you know, as I was saying to our viewers, your story is very, very captivating, and it's very applicable to many of the lessons that are going on for us today.
Well, bottom line is, you know, the situation most growers operate in, truly, when you really strip it all away, is a quasi-legal situation. And that leads to the possibility for a perfect storm to arise, where any number of factors can align, but you might find yourself in a fight for your life in a state or federal court of law. So obviously, what I'm speaking on is the fact that, caught up in that battle, I had to sacrifice some of my time.
So bring us up to speed on what brought about your new appearance and your lack of appearance in the media lately, because our viewers really want to know.
Brent, man, I lost a lot of hair, obviously. It was a very hardening experience. And for me, you know, I realized how much more sophisticated I needed to become. And this is what you see.
Shinier.
Yes, it's a manifesting, basically, of a mentality. And that mentality is one where you can exist and the charge won't grab.
Harder.
More aerodynamic.
Fresher.
Walks in the rain and doesn't get wet.
Okay, moving along, give us a little outline of what possibly could happen. You know, in the whole thing that would lead down to it turning into someone being held hostage.
Well, bottom line is information is leaked and confirmed in a way that is admissible as evidence in a court of law. That's the basic boiled down version of what will cause one of your friends, one of your family, maybe even yourself, having to sit down for a while, having to go back through the system with the riffraff again.
That ain't no Jody High Roller.
So, my friends, when it comes down to it, protect your neck. You know, cover your ass.
So is there any advice that you have for up-and-coming growers and brokers across the country?
Well, take every measure you can to be within the guidelines, always. You know, that's ultimately the safest place to be. But some people live in states where there are no guidelines. Some people live in states where guidelines are just now being conceived, developed, and pushed through the legislative process. But, you know, realize your risk. As the old saying goes, if you're going to do the crime, you have to be willing to do the time. Because snitches get stitches.
So this wraps our shoot. Remember, friends, to keep it verdant, urban, and fun. This is Brent Green from the GreenSceneTV.com.
Green Scene.